In today's video, we're going to be diving into the upcoming pattern, taking a look at off and on cold air, even a major Arctic blast in there during the medium range, as we're going to transition into a colder pattern. I know that recently it's been quite warm. That is about to change in a big way, although there will be some warm-ups for the southeast here and there as that southeast ridge tries to stick around through the upcoming pattern. During this time, we will have upwards of 5, 6, or even 7 major winter storms across areas of the Ohio Valley, Mid-Atlantic, Northeast, Great Lakes. These areas are going to get absolutely hammered. The hard part is that it won't hit everywhere. You know what I mean? I think I'm kind of keying in on areas in the Northeast having the highest chance to see every single one of those winter systems, but really there is quite a few that impact pretty much all of those areas. So we're going to be diving into all of that today. Very, very active to say the least. Here is the 6 to 10 day temperature outlook from the National Weather Service for the 11th through the 15th. Looking at all of the model guidance that I can possibly find, I think that the Southeast Ridge is perhaps overdone a little bit here. I think that if it were me, I would have this yellow outer layer probably a lot closer to here. So I feel like they're kind of overdoing it by about 100 miles, both on the western end and the northern end. It should be a little bit more kind of reclused back to the southeast here. But other than that, I do agree that it will be present, especially at times. And we can see that the cold air is expected to start encroaching on our warmer layer very, very soon. We got spoiled recently with a good, 3-4 day big time warm up, but now we're going to move into this up and down all over the place pattern. It's going to be crazy, and we're going to see a ton of activity. Speaking of that activity, here is the precipitation map, and try to find the areas that aren't above average. I mean, this is crazy. Maybe southern Florida will be near normal. Maybe southwestern Texas will be near normal. Everywhere else above normal, with the heart of it being for areas along the west coast there, and then for a lot of the eastern states here, the two highest above average areas right there for this 11th through 15th time frame. Here's the 8 to 14 day outlook, and this is for the 13th through the 19th. Our major Arctic blast would be taking place during this. Again, I have to say, I really feel like this warmer air is going to be a lot more secluded to the southeast than they're showing here. I think that colder air is going to encroach a lot further south here, and I'll show you on the model guidance where I'm seeing that. But I don't think the southeast ridge is going to not be there. It is going to be there. I just think that it's going to be a little bit less all over, if that makes sense. I think that maybe a little bit more exclusive for these southern areas. Meanwhile, the precipitation, it's a little bit less crazy, but we still see the west highly above average, and also most of the east. So you can imagine that these areas having colder air and the above average precipitation here for weeks is going to translate to some pretty major systems and pretty frequent systems as well. You would be right. Looking at the past 5 days now, the first 5 days of February, we can see, like I said, it's been very nice, very warm across the majority of your nation. We've been very, very spoiled, and at the very least, much more cold air than this is going to be popping up, with most of these areas seeing some below average temperatures moving in here very, very soon. So we will see a good 10, 15, 20 degree flip in the colder direction here shortly. Let's take a look here at the European model first off. And it's hard to say at this point. We've been watching, and the European model has been consistently the worst out of the two models here as far as snowfall and cold is concerned. They're about equal now. I would say the GFS is maybe a little bit colder in the long range, but they both show the massive amounts of snowfall at this point for most areas. And again, New England, the Northeast, is really looking to maybe be the heart of that. As we just take a look at later on today, we do see some showers and thunderstorms around for this southeastern quadrant, especially thunderstorms for these areas. A little bit more showery and cold along your more southeast / mid-Atlantic area here. And we do see snowfall throughout the northwestern regions of the nation, Washington and Oregon there, the Rockies, northern plains, and upper Midwest. We're seeing some snowfall taking place. Let's take a look by time we move towards Thursday afternoon tomorrow from the time we are filming this video. And we do see a major low between the Great Lakes and Hudson Bay, which is going to usher in more cold. We do see our first pretty major winter storm here, whereas, New England, Northeast in general, seeing quite a bit of snowfall here just tomorrow afternoon. So we're already starting this out very, very soon. Some thunderstorms and showers throughout the southeastern area are going to be possible. We do see along the west coast here, a low is moving towards California, bringing some Sierra Nevada snowfall, rainfall to the lower elevation areas as well. I'm going to take this towards Friday. And what we see on Friday is a drier east. There is still some showers and thunderstorms around for the deeper south areas, but the north is rather cold and rather dry. For a lot of your western mountain ranges, because we have a low here over Wyoming, we are seeing some pretty heavy snowfall, especially Idaho, Montana, Wyoming area there, seeing that heavy, heavy snowfall by Friday the 7th. As we move towards Saturday the 8th, we see that another one of these lows is moving from the west to the east. So it's gone ahead and meandered its way here towards kind of the Ohio Valley / Midwest area. We're seeing, again, a quadrant of showers and thunderstorms underneath a lot of this activity. And some pretty major snowfall for the Midwest and the Great Lakes here by as soon as Saturday the 8th. Just a couple of days from now. And what we see by 1 a.m., 2 a.m., 3 a.m. the next morning, really, as we're moving into Sunday the 9th, is snowfall lingering for the Great Lakes, but coming to an end. And we do see heavy, heavy snowfall again for that northeast quadrant. Another system in basically a couple of days. We see back-to-back systems very close together here. There will be likely a pocket, this cold front here, where we could see another round of potential heavy showers / thunderstorms taking place with this one. And as we head towards that afternoon, this is 1 p.m. on Sunday the 9th, we're still seeing some northeast snowfall, very heavy in fact, taking place as that system is moving out. And by Monday afternoon, it will have basically all but moved out. The northeast is once again cold and dry. We get a lot of moisture rising up from the Gulf and moving into this area here, bringing thunderstorms and showers, and possibly our next winter storm, as this one is just kind of brewing. If that's going to move northward, we could see some activity come from it. We also have this northern piece of energy where we have snowfall across the northern Rockies and northern plains here. If this all comes together, we could see some big things really take place. By Tuesday, things get very interesting. We have some low pressure back for the Gulf states, but also some growing low pressure off the southeast and mid-Atlantic coast there. And we see some snowfall across the plains, Midwest, Ohio Valley, and especially the mid-Atlantic here. We're seeing some snowfall taking place by Tuesday afternoon on the 11th. As we reach towards later that evening, this will be 1 a.m., we see that our most major low at this point is offshore of kind of south of Nantucket and Martha's Vineyard, offshore of Long Island. What we end up seeing is moderate to heavy snowfall for this mid-Atlantic and southern New England pocket. So another mid-Atlantic / New England snowfall event. This is maybe storm number 3 already by the 12th here. So just about 7 days from now, we will have already seen 3 winter systems. Very, very interesting. And again, I know I keep mentioning it, but showers and thunderstorms perhaps here for the southeast area once again. Some snowfall out west as we get a low moving onshore there. We see for the Sierra Nevada and portions of the Rockies, even the plains still seeing some snow showers. A pretty wintry look here for Wednesday the 12th. By that afternoon, we see that system number 3 has gone ahead and moved out. We have some pretty major thunderstorms, it looks like, across the southeast according to this model. We have a couple of low pressure systems here and really snow spread for a large area across the nation in the middle regions of the nation. By Tuesday, we see a lot of this thunderstorm activity is taking a northern turn. So again, the Gulf states, Appalachian Mountain Range, and portions of the southeast and mid-Atlantic seeing thunderstorms and heavier showers. A low developing here by Colorado is bringing some snowfall to portions of the plains and Midwest here. We also see some snowfall showers perhaps across the Mid-Atlantic and Northeast. We're approaching 10 days out now, which is when we like to start taking things with a pretty serious grain of salt. So Friday the 14th, we're seeing Thunderstorms and showers across the southeast here, some snowfall showers across the northeast. Nothing too major though at this point. The more major stuff is going to be down here for the Four Corner states, as we see a low taking place here, bringing heavy mountainous snowfall. We'll have to see how this all transpires, but as of Saturday, things become pretty clear. This is on the move eastward in a big way. This is officially 10 days out, so again, grain of salt here. We're going over the details, but expect changes, pretty major changes after this point. I always like to emphasize that. We do see this snowfall and even ice taking place all the way from the Four Corner states, through the plains, through the Midwest, through the Great Lakes, and even extending into the Mid-Atlantic and Northeast. Very widespread. As we move this on towards that evening, or better yet, the next afternoon, 1 p.m. on Sunday the 16th here, we do see some wintry weather across the Ohio Valley, Mid-Atlantic, and Northeast here, but your more major stuff is going to be back west again. We have a low over the deeper south, and even some pretty far south snowfall here for Texas, Oklahoma, Arkansas, Missouri, Kansas, Illinois here, as that low is officially forming. As we keep going towards, this will be 1 a.m. on Monday the 17th here, 990 there by Virginia, North Carolina, and we end up with heavy snowfall across the Ohio Valley, interior Mid-Atlantic, deep south here as well. This looks like a major system, maybe even a blizzard here that we're seeing take place. Again, long range, this is very far out, but this model has been consistently showing some major blows to these areas over the last few days that we've been looking at these model runs. So there is some consistency to this idea, which definitely bodes well in the way of confidence. Let's see how it transpires over the next couple of hours. We see it drop all the way down to a 983 here offshore of New Jersey and Long Island, becoming a little bit more east base. Major snow system. Again, probably a blizzard at this point. Ohio Valley, Mid-Atlantic area, and then even the Northeast seeing probably 1 to 2 feet of snowfall in a lot of these areas where we're seeing heavy snowfall over a long period of time. This is a very strong system, and we saw a very strong system like this yesterday on the models as well. Still around as a 979 by Monday afternoon on the 17th for New England. That is a massive and a monstrous system overall. Still some snow showers just coming to an end by 7 p.m. on Monday, the 17th. So just then coming to an end, we get very cold air afterwards for a lot of the east. As we move towards Wednesday afternoon on the 19th, we do see the Northwest getting going again with a 993 low pressure system over Montana there. Rockies, Northern Plains, Cascades, all seeing snowfall there. That's a pretty hefty system in itself. And as we move past that, when we're looking at Thursday morning on the 20th, we do see what looks to be perhaps a trough trying to move into the east once again. We get some energy moving up. So this could be colder times ahead and maybe a system coming together here overall. Definitely something to watch. GFS model, like I said, is a little bit more bullish on the cold later on. A little bit less bullish on the specific blizzard that we saw on that European model. But there still ends up being about the same amount of snowfall. We get very consistent snowstorms, and over the course of 2 weeks, we end up with a whole lot on this model as well. Again, here's your initial system, some snowfall for the Northeast just tomorrow, Thursday the 6th. Friday the 7th here, we're seeing that system over the west with some cooler temperatures in the east. Saturday, Midwest, Great Lakes, seeing some snowfall there, and that does move into the Northeast by Sunday the 9th once again. So again, 1-2 punch. Then we end up with some Mid-Atlantic snowfall, even moderate to heavy at times here. Wintry weather stretching pretty far south. I would be in sleet or freezing rain here, which isn't that exciting, but nevertheless, I mean, that is some activity pretty close to home for me. Very far south in the Mid-Atlantic there by Monday the 10th. And what we see happen is that one kind of dissipates, but we really quickly get some more low pressure moving into the area. Still continued snowfall over Kentucky, West Virginia, Delmarva, Maryland. Another southern Mid-Atlantic snow system there. Wednesday the 12th here, we start to see a more major one get its act together, and by Thursday the 13th, we're seeing the Ohio Valley, portions of the Mid-Atlantic, and especially New England, seeing a heavy snowstorm there. So all of this within the next 10 days. Again, both models look very snowy if you can pick up on it, but some differences and details. Very early on Saturday, this will be about 1 a.m. on Saturday, we see some heavy snowfall across the Great Lakes and Midwest, Heavy snowfall across the Rockies, Cascades, and Sierra Nevada, looking very wintry on both of those areas. And then a lot of this snowfall starts to transition into the Northeast by early on Sunday, the 16th. Here is kind of when that blizzard would be, and the problem is the European model has one very strong low right here, cold enough air for snowfall, and we get tons of snow in this corridor, as you remember. We have this low, which isn't quite as strong, but it is pretty hefty. And then we have this weaker low up to the north, so it creates this kind of broad low pressure. We get warm air kind of intruding more on these areas. And to make matters even worse, this is a day early. The European model has the cold air much more established as that major system is moving in, but the GFS model is earlier with it, and that's why we end up seeing almost nothing from a system where the other model shows massive, massive amounts. So that's why these systems are so fragile and so sensitive. Any changes in the timing of the details of not only the pressure system of concern, but the pressure systems outside of there, the high pressure, the low pressure, away from this system, will dictate where things move around, and any little change anywhere on this map basically can affect the outcome of a certain system, and that's what we're seeing in play here. It's hard to deny we have a very strong positive PNA there. We have cold air diving in, and we have a major low pressure system off the mid-Atlantic. But again, it's the finer details that really mess this one up. This low needs to be about right here at this point, and then move up basically after this point, mostly into the 17th, to really come together like we saw in the European model. So that one becomes almost a non-event there. Very quickly, though, we get a major clipper system move through and bring snowfall to the Cascades, Rockies, Sierra Nevada there. Northern Plains, Upper Midwest, areas of the Ohio Valley and Great Lakes here. Eventually, Mid-Atlantic and Northeast gets snowfall around the 18th, 19th, and 20th. And then for the 21st here at the very end of this model run, we're left with a cold look in the West and really a cold look across most of the United States with snowfall in the Four Corner states. Also for the Midwest here. And it looks like we're going to get a low together, which could try to move eastward and bring yet another system in here. So both of these models really showing no end in sight for the activity. Off and on very cold times. It looks quite wintry on both of these models, and we'll see it on the total snowfall map in a moment. Here's the total precipitation, though, and I mean, really impressive amounts out west, but even more impressive and even more precipitation overall in the east here. This is super, super crazy stuff, and especially here, right around that Tennessee Valley, Ohio Valley, areas kind of in the south central states there, seeing inches. This is 5 to 10 inches of precipitation over the next 2 weeks, which is certainly above average for all of these areas, especially considering the time of year. February is traditionally a pretty dry month. What we see on the anomalies is far above average precipitation throughout all of these darker green and blue areas here. So you can tell a lot of systems are moving through here. Also out west, there is some areas below average, but I would say overall there's a near average to above average precipitation for most areas in here. Let's take a look at the total snowfall, and again, it's going to be just absolutely insane. From the mountainous west, where we get above average amounts of snowfall, the plains into the Midwest, as well as the Great Lakes, looking very healthy, 1 to 2 feet of snowfall for most areas in here, and numerous systems. Then it's kind of this Ohio Valley into the Mid-Atlantic and Northeast area where we're really eyeballing multiple major snow systems. And if I zoom into the east here, I mean, look at how impressive this is. I mean, this is absolutely insane. We're seeing 1, 2, 3, maybe 4 feet of snowfall being picked up by this European model throughout this area. Indiana, Ohio, northern Pennsylvania, areas of New York, Massachusetts, Connecticut, Rhode Island, Vermont, New Hampshire, Maine. All of these areas seeing multiple feet of snowfall. Take it with a grain of salt. Of course, things can change. And we've seen these models show massive amounts of snowfall only to back off later on. But it's really important to know that this is a potential at this point, and this is a shocking one. This is reminiscent for New England, and maybe this is a little bit more expansive, but this is reminiscent of that. I think it was 2013 to 2014 winter. It might have been the one after it. I don't know, but I remember Massachusetts, in particular Boston area, got just bombarded with multiple major snow systems. And although this comes from more systems that are a little bit less intense, I think that month, that February of 2014, was more like 2 to 3 massive snowstorms. This is more like 4, 5, 6 medium systems. But regardless, when you're talking about 30, 40, 50 inches of snowfall, you kind of have to go into the history books to find other examples. I mean, snowy Februarys like this is hard to come by, but that's one that comes to mind. Very, very snowy look. And the GFS, I mean, you know, we miss out on that massive blizzard, and it's hard to find the massive differences. We see very snowy for the mountainous west, maybe a little bit less for the southern or more central plains and lower Midwest. But when we look at the northern plains, upper Midwest, and Great Lakes, we see huge amounts. Mid-Atlantic, a little bit less overwhelming, but we do see the Northeast in very, very extreme amounts. Again, when we zoom in on the east here, this is a run that's incomplete. We have to do this. So here we go. We see still 20, 30, maybe 40 inches of snowfall for the Northeast. So again, it is a good 10, 15 inches less. Maybe it's a little bit more realistic. Maybe this is still overblown. It's hard to say. But both major models are both showing major, major snow over the next 2 weeks. Really, really crazy stuff. Now the temperature pattern, here's the European model. Again, we're going to be warmer for a while here. The cold starts to make some grounds here on the 9th, 10th. Here's the 11th, 12th. And again, the southeast ridge is there, but it's not quite as expansive, in my opinion, as what the National Weather Service is calling for. It stays pretty secluded to the southeast there at most points. And especially around, you know, the 16th, 17th, 18th, both of these models just show a massive Arctic blast move down and really just snap that southeast ridge out of place. And then on the 20th here, here's the look. We still have warmer air in the west. It looks like we're getting cold charging to come back into the east here. We do get a warm-up in between, which is very typical. We're still in a back-and-forth pattern, but maybe primed for more cold air moving in. The GFS model, again, warmer air becoming less and less abundant over time. Here's the 9th, and again, this is a lot more of what I see from this southeast ridge, kind of just very, very exclusive for the Gulf states and southeast states. And I'm in this, you know. This is something that it doesn't make a difference for me whether it's more expansive or less, because even in the less expansive one, I'm still in it. But I really, really feel like this cold is going to win out for the most part. Here's the GFS, I mean, 11th, 12th, 13th. Look at how small that southeast ridge is during all of this time. This is most of the 6 to 10 day outlook, and obviously the National Weather Service is calling for it to be a lot more abundant than this. Here's that 16th, 17th, and again, a major Arctic blast on this model as well, just like the European model. And we actually get a second one around the 19th, 20th, 21st. So plenty of cold to come by here on both of these models. And just in case you're curious, the ensemble models. Here's the European extended ensemble model, and here's the, let's do the 10th through the 17th real quickly, and look at the southeast ridge. Very small here for the southeast, with cold air well further south and east than what the National Weather Service is calling for during this time frame. 15th through 22nd, it's a lot of the same. Even the 22nd through the 1st of March looks quite cold. GFS ensemble model, in case you're curious, here is days, this is 6 through 13, but still, I mean, pretty small southeast ridge here with cold air able to make it well into the mid-Atlantic, well into the southern plains, and well past the Ohio Valley there. It's pretty much just the Gulf states and the far southeast states involved here. As we move, this is the 10 through 17 day outlook, and I mean, it's a lot of the same. Even when we look at the 20th through the 27th, looks quite cold in the eastern states. That actually continues well into early March. So yes, I do think there will be a southeast ridge. I think from what I'm seeing from the models right now, it may be less expansive than what current thoughts are suggesting. And another reason that my thought process is kind of working this way is, if you remember, in late January, just like a week or two ago, we really felt like the beginning portion of February was going to be a complete torch. Every single day above average, massive ridge. And we have consistently seen that just get chipped away kind of over time, to where now we're maybe dealing with off and on warmth and a southeast ridge that stays pretty much consistently in place, but very far for the southeast. And we're consistently seeing that get backed away. So time will tell, but I think that it may be being overblown, I guess, in other words. But very snowy regardless, almost, in any case. We expect multiple major snow systems. It is going to be a roller coaster of a pattern, so buckle up, guys. Be sure to subscribe. We upload every single day. You can even hit the bell icon for daily notifications when we upload so you never miss one. Be sure to like the video if you did enjoy it. Leave a comment down below, and I'll see you guys in the next video.